Boy Crazy Stacey is about Stacey McGill falling in love with a hot lifeguard. A year after this book's release, they started the hot lifeguard TV show Baywatch. Coincidence? I think not. The premise of this book is that Mr. and Mrs. Pike are going on vacation for 2 weeks, and they want someone to help watch their kids. Oh, Mr. and Mrs. Pike, don't you know? You already have built-in babysitters. They're called grandparents. The Pikes pick Mary Anne and Stacey to join their vacation. They have 8 kids, so that's a total of 12 people. How can they afford this vacation? They're going to Sea City on the Jersey Shore. The car ride there is a bit of a madhouse, and we're introduced to all of the Pike kids, from Margot to Mallory. Good luck trying to remember the difference between all of them. I only remembered Vanessa, who rhymes everything, and Claire, who calls everybody Silly Billy Goo Goo. The others just sort of blend together like an out-of-control smoothie. Everyone gets settled in at the beach house, and the book starts for real on page 40, when Stacey sees the hottest lifeguard of all time. He's blonde, he's hot, and he's clearly way too old for Stacey, but who cares? It is true love at first sight. Stacey and Mary Anne show off their new bikinis to each other, which is a scene that made me feel very uncomfortable. Then they take the kids to the beach. Stacey spends most of her time staring at the lifeguard tower, and she barely even watches the kids. Claire cuts her foot on a shell, which gives Stacey the excuse to ask Hot Lifeguard for help. He introduces himself as Scott Foley, 18. Stacey awkwardly introduces herself as Stacey McGill, 13, from New York City. Claire introduces herself as 5 years old, currently bleeding to death, because everyone is too busy flirting to fix her wound. I have to admit, it is super nasty for Scott to flirt with a girl who is 5 years younger than he is. He gives Stacey pet names like Honey and Love, as in, "Hey beautiful, could you get me a sandwich?" Or, "Hey gorgeous, I want another soda." Okay, Scott isn't really flirting with Stacey, he's just being nice to her so she will get him food. I don't care! He's still a sleazeball! And Stacey doesn't care either, she thinks Stacey plus Scott equals love. The only person who does care is Mary Anne, because she gets stuck watching 8 kids while Stacey spends all day at the lifeguard stand. Mary Anne gets kind of mad about this, but Stacey's all, "Whatever, Mary Anne, no one cares what you think, you get paid whether or not I contribute." Ugh, she reminds me of my old co-workers. As we all know, Christy is a huge control freak, so she forcibly takes over the book in chapter 9, so she can tell everybody about washing her stepdad's car. Thanks, Chrissy. We really wanted to hear that. Scott gives Stacey his whistle as a present for absolutely nothing. Stacey decides she has to get Scott a present, so she forces Mary Anne to go through every single store with her. What do they find? They find Scott making out with another girl. Stacey plus Scott equals no love! Stacey cries and blames Mary Anne. The next day, Stacey dumps all the kids on Mary Anne because she's too heartbroken to work. Mary Anne gets a lot of abuse in this book, I've noticed. The good news is that Stacey eventually realizes she's been a horrible person, and she gives an honest apology. See, that's the ending we should have had in Book 7, and Book 5, and in Book 1. Basically, a lot of these books should end with the babysitters realizing they are horrible people. Now, for the part of the book that makes me want to slap Stacey. She just learned her lesson about having a crush on some guy she doesn't know. What does she do next? She turns around and does the exact same thing. Ah! Mary Anne met a boy babysitter on the beach. His name is Alex, and he has a super hot cousin named Toby. Stacey instantly falls in love again. The girls go on a double date with their guys. Toby gives Stacey a teddy bear, and he kisses her in the tunnel of love. It's her first kiss. Oh, so dreamy. So yeah, Stacey learns nothing. The moral of the book is that it's okay to throw yourself at hot guys, because sometimes they like it. I give this book a 0 out of 10. The end. Post-book follow-up. At the end of the book, Stacey says goodbye to Scott. This is the first time they've talked since she saw him kissing another woman. And it was really boring. They said goodbye and that was it. You think Stacey would have mentioned that he broke her heart by being a sicko college student who hits on middle schoolers. Mary Anne has a more tender goodbye with her crush, Alex. She feels kind of awkward about liking a guy for the first time. Mary Anne and Alex exchange rings with their initials on them. In her next book, Mary Anne casually dismisses the thing as nice, but they'll probably never write to each other like they promised. Kind of a big letdown, huh? I think this book could have been more interesting if Mary Anne was the narrator, because she's my favorite character. Because how does she feel about all the garbage Stacey saddles her with? Well, she's Mary Anne, so she puts up with everybody's abuse until she finally snaps with passive-aggressive rage, and she makes a sarcastic remark. Yeah, that's Mary Anne. I'm pretty sure she secretly hates all of her friends. Again, why she's my favorite character. Overall, this book is interesting. The Pikes are an entertaining group, and it's a change of pace to constantly focus on one family instead of switching babysitting clients every other chapter. I really dislike the love story where Scott is a sicko and Stacey is a moron, but I guess it's pretty realistic to have a first crush story on somebody who's totally wrong for you and unattainable. If you skip over all the love stuff, the book is fine. I give Babysitter's Club number 8, Boy Crazy Stacey, a 6 out of 10.